Succession Link is the leading networking platform for financial professionals looking to buy, sell, merge, and find succession and continuity options for their practices. Hear from Vance Barse, wealth strategist and founder of Your Dedicated Fiduciary, and his experience using the Succession Link platform to facilitate the acquisition of multiple practices.
Welcome, Vance. So excited for your energy. So excited for you to be here.
Thank you so much, Brian. It is truly a pleasure to be back on the podcast, and I can't wait to do the show.
So you were on here 5 years ago with your first appearance, and there was some pretty big news at the time because you acquired a $65 million assets under management firm through Succession Link. Can you share with us what you've been working on since then?
Sure. As it relates to that acquisition, the majority of those clients are still here. One transitioned to the spiritual side, one went self-directed, but otherwise we've had 100% retention, and many of those families have actually moved additional assets in. Now, what's interesting and unusual about that particular transaction is that the retiring advisor was 100% brokerage, meaning all commission-based. YDF is fee-based, meaning that we don't earn commissions on investments.
Yeah.
And I remember there were several people at the time, Ryan, telling me, you're absolutely crazy if you do this deal. 0 clients are local to where you are.
Yeah.
Secondarily, the financial advisor's business model is 100% commission, and you don't earn any investment related commissions.
Yeah.
And tertiarily, this advisor has had 2 different broker dealers in a trailing 18 months. Like, there's no way possible this is ever going to work out. But something told me in my sort of inner voice, in my gut, if you will, that it was going to work. And not only did it work very, very well. So the best takeaway I have from the entirety of the experience is that those families that came on board are now friends. And it's much more than just an advisor-client relationship. They ask how my kids are doing. They ask how Jody, my wife, is doing. And it's just a much deeper relationship than, hey, we're going to manage your money and do some estate and tax planning, and we'll talk next quarter, right? So it's been great. The selling advisor really wanted to bring some additional strategies and services to those decades-long clients. And that's what we delivered. And it's been great. It was a fantastic acquisition opportunity because the relationships that the selling advisor had forged over 5.5 decades of serving as investment counselor, if you will, were such that we were really able to come in with a strong relational approach to bring in the advanced planning strategies that these clients had not experienced thus far. Yeah. And it was so interesting because from the very beginning, when I met him at a Succession Link dinner, I might add, in San Diego, that I almost didn't attend. That's the inherent, surprise in the entire situation is I didn't want to go that night because it was cold. It was windy. It's never cold and windy in San Diego, but a former colleague of mine insisted that I attend. And I did. And thank goodness, because it really changed the trajectory of our firm here at YDF. And that's been one of the great things about working with Succession Link is it's really fostered a platform to meet other advisors and use the valuation tool, because there are practices that are available through my intermediary, which is Commonwealth Financial Network. And I'm able to leverage the valuation tool and sort of do a 2-column approach. So under column 1, I look at the valuation based on the valuation tool vis-a-vis Succession Link. And under column 2, I can use Commonwealth's valuation metrics, and the two, they literally match. There's a practice that we're in the process of acquiring now, and the valuation was literally just a few $1,000s difference. I mean,
wow,
right there, almost on the nose, which has been great.
Yeah.
The great aspect of the Succession Link platform is I can see the available sellers. I'm originally from Maryland, so it's not unusual for me to hop on a flight to BWI. Well, how many financial advisors are there within an hour of BWI Airport? The answer is a whole bunch. Between the list of available sellers and the valuation tool, those are the two primary resources that I have valued most about using Succession Link. Yeah, and that's the one thing that I've looked at over the years that I've been very well acquainted with Succession Link is the valuation tool because the market landscape has changed. If you go back to the
Mhm.
multiples that were being applied 5 years ago
Yeah.
relative to the multiples now, the valuation tool is neurosurgeon like precise when it comes to accounting for the current landscape, which has been great.
Yeah. That's amazing. I want to talk about the current landscape because you're now using Secession Link to get a new deal going here, a new acquisition through Secession Link. Can you tell us a little bit more about how this process started, how you use Secession Link, and how you replicated success from the past?
Sure. So both the seller and I are familiar with Succession Link. This seller actually came to me a couple years ago under the auspice, if you will, of a continuity plan. And I actually have some stats that I want to share with you and our viewers.
Please.
So last year, I was invited by Investment News to write an article on our succession planning crisis. That is the title of the article. And there's a Cerulli study that estimates that roughly 103,000 financial advisors, or 40% of the approximately 260,000 financial advisors in the United States, are going to retire by 2030. Of those, 26%, or roughly 26,000 financial advisors, who represent a whopping 1.8 trillion with a T in
It's a
assets, are unsure of their succession plan. So, no pun intended, because we were talking about Texas, but Houston, we do have a problem because those advisors are going to need to demonstrate to their clients that they have a succession plan because it's so vital that we
Mhm.
practitioners practice what. But in any event, the advisor approached me because he saw the Succession Link podcast. He also happened to read the article that I wrote for Investment News. And he said, "Hey,
Yeah.
you obviously have been down this road. We both use the same platform, which is Commonwealth Financial. I would like to have you as my continuity plan and partner." And so we inked that a couple years ago. Well,
Amazing.
about 2.5 weeks ago, I got a call and he said, "Hey, I'm interested in re-engaging in this conversation because I would like to retire sometime in the next few months, maybe a year." And as the
Interesting.
conversation has evolved here in the last couple of days, he said, "You know what? I'm ready to retire at the end of this year. I want to ink this thing and we're going to do it." So Succession Link's valuation tool has been instrumental in this because of the 45 million in this particular practice that we're referencing,
Yeah.
about 18 of that is in brokerage business of different types, largely in A shares, right? Legacy sort of
Yeah.
A shares, if you will. And the balance of it is in the fiduciary model of having a percentage of assets under management. And similar to the firm from 5 years ago, we are
Yeah.
going to go to clients and say, "You know what? The time is now. We are going to offer you a much broader suite of services and strategies
Amazing.
and convert a lot of that brokerage business to fee based, depending on the client's need." I need to make that really clear. It's not a blanket, we're rolling from one to the other.
Yeah.
Each of those clients will have a meeting. We will outline the full menu of services and strategies. And then in an a la carte fashion, whatever's in the client's best interest and where they see the value, we'll customize a cost and update
Amazing.
that. Having the experience of the acquisition 5 years ago has really helped with this one because
Mhm.
5 years ago, I had never done one. And having done it doesn't necessarily make me an expert, but
Yeah.
having done it, now having lectured on it, having worked with Succession Link and having conversations with other financial advisors, both inside of Commonwealth and also outside, there's some
Yeah.
RIAs and so forth. I've really gotten well versed on the ins and outs of succession planning. And so going into this particular transaction, we first established a mutual alignment of interests, meaning
Mm,
how do we align ourselves such that the net impact for the client is the best result? And
mm,
the answer there is in offering broader services. For example, this particular advisor has never done financial planning at no
yeah,
fault to him, right? It's just hasn't been part of the services model, and it doesn't have to be.
yeah,
But in the identification of YDF as his successor, we have a certified financial planner on staff,
amazing.
and he is going to emphasize to his clients the additional value. So we're going to get tax returns and estate planning documents, really just to look at the estate as a whole to identify, are there any major planning gaps and how do we fill them? And so that way the message isn't, hey, here's Vance, goodbye. It's, hey, I'm forming, a marriage, if you will, with
Yeah.
YDF. We are coalescing pursuant to my own eventual retirement. Vance is going to take the baton from here with his team, and
Amazing.
we'll have a meeting or two with the clients. And that's one of the things in the acquisition 5 years ago, Ryan, I had zero in-person introductions to any of those
Mm,
clients. Remember, literally zero of those clients were local to San Diego, which is
wow.
why so many people went, "You're crazy if you do this thing." I just knew in my heart that it was meant to be, and it worked. So with this particular acquisition, I will have the benefit of meeting in person with these clients just to really outline the value proposition and show them the additional tangible value that they can get. And I couldn't be more excited. It's a great time of year for this because we're heading into year-end planning season, and I'm
Yep.
able to cherry pick the key benefits of the last acquisition to implement here. So, could not be more excited. It's an additional tranche of households that will be able to go in and meet, carry the baton, bring additional value while making the retiring advisor look like an absolute rock star. And we really fit.
I love that. And just last question for you here before we do wrap it up. What advice would you give to someone that is going through a sell or an acquisition for the first time? What advice would you share with them?
It is absolutely important that there's a good working chemistry. Everyone says that it's about fit, but the way to spell right fit is PRICE, but you can't arrive at the right price if you're not going to have the right fit. Really want to have a dual alignment of interests so that ultimately the most important party in the entire transaction, which is the client base, is the one that benefits most.
Are you looking for your next M&A opportunity? Visit successionlink.com to search and connect with over 64,000 members on the nation's largest marketplace of financial professionals. We look forward to your success. Thanks for being a part of the Succession Link community.